Episode number 199.
All people need to feel like is that they're seen and appreciated. And so internally is where it starts. If your employees are engaged, they create much better experiences for your customers.
Welcome to the Be Real Show with Travis Too Tall and Huff, where we talk about life, dreams, social media, and business.
Well, hello and welcome to the Be Real Show with Travis Too Tall and Huff. Folks, after this episode, I think you're going to take sales more seriously because you could be getting more sales using video, especially with our friends here at the BombBomb and our featured guest today, Ethan Beute. Ethan, are you ready to be real?
I am absolutely ready to be real. It's about the only way to be.
Oh, yeah. That's why I love the show, because I hear it more and more. Everyone's saying, let's be real. We want that transparency with life. But my man, Ethan, along with his co-founder, Steve, has been practicing, learning, and teaching the process of increasing sales and improving the customer experience in using simple personal videos. And actually for more than a decade. So it's not like you're just barely in the game here. You've been doing it for 10 years or more. And have created over 12,000 videos of themselves. And their book, specifically, Rehumanizing Your Business, is an Amazon bestseller. It's out there on all different platforms. We'll definitely put that in the show notes. But that's going to kind of give people the insight into how they can actually maybe make their brands more personal. So it's a pleasure to have you on the show today. How's your day going today?
It's going great. It's really great to be here. I love your energy. I love what you're about. And I think this message about rehumanizing your business communication, ultimately rehumanizing your business, is all about being real.
Oh, yeah. Because so many businesses want to put a fancy logo and brand on everything, and it's like video allows you to tell a different tale that's like the behind the scenes story. What happens on behind the scenes to get this job done? And then I have even had customers recently, even that are potential prospective customer restaurant brands saying, you know what, we're not doing a great job of telling the story of where our products come from. Where does these meats sourced at? Where do the vegetables that are on your plate sourced at? Just the kind of the story behind that. So I think more and more businesses and brands are taking it seriously. But that gets me into also your title, Chief Evangelist. I love that title. So your job is to spread the love and spread the word of BombBomb. What a cool job.
Yeah, you're exactly right. I love that you keyed in on that. It's something I was personally curious about coming into the year, and ended up interviewing 4 people who had the title. So apparently in tech, it's a relatively common title. So at Amazon, there are several evangelists. At Microsoft, there's several evangelists. And so I interviewed Chief Evangelist. I don't know if you know Guy Kawasaki from Apple.
Oh,
he was like the original Chief Evangelist at Apple, and now he's a Chief Evangelist at a software company called Canva.
Yeah,
makes it easy to make your own graphics. So
best software ever.
Talk to him, talk to Davis Bitsky at Amazon, the first employee ever in voice, talk to a couple other gentlemen about what it means. And it became obvious, like the whole message there was, if you are innovating, then you must be evangelizing. Because if you're innovating, and we're helping you use your email, your text messages, and your social messages in a much more personal and human way. And so that is a story that needs to get out. Essentially, the storyline is, you're doing something. There are problems with the way that you're doing it. There's a better way to do it. Let me tell you about the better way. And in this scenario, I'm not going to be talking to you in this conversation about BombBomb. I'm not here to sell software. I'm here to tell you that you can get face-to-face with more people more often, and you're going to be more effective in your work, and you're going to be more satisfied in your work as a consequence.
What do you think is the first barrier to people even getting started? I think because a lot of times I hear is that, I don't have enough good enough camera. And it's like, dude, you have an iPhone. I mean, I just upgraded to the new iPhone, not the Pro, but just the regular one after having an iPhone 6S. But the new basic $700 plus iPhone that's available right now for everybody. And it's probably everyone has that or better. The Pro is obviously a lot of people have that. That thing is a video creator. I mean, there's professional nationwide TV campaigns being created on iPhones.
It's insane. Yeah. So that's a great question. It's a really common one. I think at a high level, the single biggest impediment to getting going with video, and when I talk about video, I'm talking about simple personal video. I'm not talking about lights and scripts and editing and production and green screens and drones and all that. Like, if you want to do that, that's awesome.
Right.
What I want to encourage the people that are listening right now to do is to think about all of the emails they're typing up and sending, and the text messages they're typing up and sending, and the LinkedIn Messenger messages or the Facebook Messenger messages, and think, for some of these messages, would it be better if I said it in person? Would this be more effective if I just looked someone in the eye through the camera lens and communicated this message eye to eye, face to face? And in so many cases, and for so many reasons, the answer is going to be yes. Like, throughout your day, you're going to be like, yes, I could explain this faster. Or yes, someone could understand me better. Or yes, it'd be better because someone's going to understand my emotion or tone, and they're not going to wonder if I'm being passive aggressive about this, right? Like, you stick an emoticon, a smiley face on there, and like, are they taunting me or are they actually just joking? I can't tell. And so to your point, equipment is not the problem. You have a nice HD webcam built into your laptop or your monitor. You're carrying around an amazing HD camera in your purse or your pocket every day. It's at your bedside. It's on your desk. It's always with you. And so the equipment isn't the thing. It's this human vulnerability component. It's this, can I get comfortable enough in my own skin? And I want to encourage people that get there. This doesn't have to be as good as a television commercial. It doesn't have to be good enough to go on the homepage of your website. This just has to be better than if you typed out the same message and sent it in plain black text on a plain white screen in a way that doesn't differentiate you, doesn't build rapport with the person receiving it, and doesn't communicate nearly as well as if you just talk to somebody. And so that's what this style of video is: simple and personal. You don't need special equipment. You just need to have something to say to somebody, and you want to use all of your rich human qualities to do it.
Right. Capitalize. I know that's what people say about me. You got great energy. So you can't see that in a text. You could just, that text just read, you have great energy. You didn't hear those inflections like we just talked about.
Right. So as people are listening to this, think about this. Think about if you were reading a transcript of this conversation.
Right.
Versus listening. Just the first 2 minutes of the show. I mean, to your point, you have amazing energy. And I want to encourage people that say, gosh, I could never do what Travis does. I don't have that level of energy. It doesn't matter. This style of video is not about being a personality or being a air quoting video person. Right. This is about you being you. If you've reached any level of success in your business, where if you're listening to a show like this, you're obviously investing in yourself. You're looking for new ideas. You're looking to up your game. And so you're probably achieving some level of success in your business already. And so people are already saying yes to you. Even if someone's signing a contract, let's say, or they're even just swiping their credit card at your point of sale, they're saying yes to the product, the service, the terms, all the details, the features, the benefits, but they're also saying yes to you, to the trust and rapport you've built with that person. And so even if you are a quiet, modest person, and we have about 49,000 customers. Wow. We have customers of all kinds.
Right.
And some of them, and they're just looking the camera in the lens. And if you're a modest, quiet person, you're going to be a modest, quiet person in video. If you're a big energy person, you're going to be a big energy person in video. But you're already having success, and it's due in part to who you are. And so there's no reason to hide behind that faceless digital communication anymore. You can be more real more often in your emails and in your other digital communication.
Yeah, I think that's a good point too, because it's not like you have to put on an act, folks. It's just like you talking how you would normally talk to your people,
totally,
to your customers, to your family, to your friends, your closest love, whatever it is. Send a video message to your wife if you want to start practicing. I started doing this actually with family members and close friends. Instead of sending them a text message, I started, sending them hey, I'm missing you, man. I just want to tell you that I know life gets by here. Here's my daughter. Check her out. You haven't seen her. You can't see that in a text message. And we love you, man. Hope you're having a great day. Kill it today.
Dude, that is such a great piece of advice. This idea, like if people are listening, like, yeah, I guess it's true. I would be more effective if I got face-to-face with more people more often. And basically all of us would. I don't care what seat you're in, what type of company you're in. You win through trust, rapport, and relationship, period. So your recommendation here to start with family members and friends, people who already know you, people you already know, right. People who, and so when I said vulnerability earlier, I'm talking about this like kind of deep subconscious fear of judgment and rejection everyone experiences it. Even hardcore type A people that are high achievers struggle sometimes to get in front of the camera because they wouldn't tell you why. They say, that's just not for me, or that's not going to work for me, or whatever. They'll make up these excuses for it. By the way, this works for everybody. It's this fear of judgment and rejection. And so and it's subconscious. So when you start with family members and friends, that level of fear goes down quite a bit because, again, these people have already accepted you. They love you. They trust you. They like you. You know them. You have something to say to them. Right. So it's easier to know what to say. It's easier to reach out. And then what's going to happen, and I'd be curious about your response here. I'd be shocked if you told me anything other than what I would expect to hear, which is that people reply to you, and they reply to you in a way that lets you know that sending that video was different than just sending another email or just sending another text message. They're excited to see you. They're happy to see you. And this happens with strangers as well as friends. But by starting with friends and family, you're starting it in a lower threat situation. Right. And that positive feedback you get creates that positive upward spiral, that feedback loop where you know this is worth it. This emotional struggle I'm going through to get comfortable looking the camera in the lens and talking to somebody is in fact worth it.
Oh yeah. It's worth it, folks. I mean, FaceTime's worth it. I mean, my brother's in Boston. I just got to see them. I FaceTime this morning at 7:35 my time when my daughter's up, and he was at 10:35 taking his family out to get their first Christmas tree in Boston, and seeing my little nieces real quick right there. And it took 5 minutes, my time. You know what I mean? And his time. But it was a connection that you could not get even through a phone call. There was interaction, like I'm saying things, they're doing things, we're having fun, all in a 5-minute call. So, even look at FaceTime, folks, or things like that as the or the beginning of what you're already doing. FaceTime with the customer. FaceTime.
Absolutely.
Because I think that's even better because it's like you don't have to necessarily like have the whole thing message that you're going to say. You just say, hey, what's up? How you doing? And then they have to respond. And it's like a conversation real quick. And, maybe that's a good other point too. I mean, obviously it's just a stepping stone. I think what you're doing and providing videos to businesses, or obviously to your prospects, to your customers, to your employees, maybe even to your friends and family. I mean, it's just the future because it's easier.
Yeah, I love that you said employees. It's, a lot of people when they buy our software, or there are other companies that do some similar things. They're often looking for an obvious ROI, and you can get that. So if you look at like prospecting and reaching out to people that have like filled out forms on your website or made inquiries of some type, and you're going to send videos out to put a face with the name and encourage them to schedule an appointment, or, whatever your sales process looks like, using video early on and getting face-to-face and building a little bit of that trust, differentiating yourself from competitors and all that. We're seeing a lot of stuff like 87% of our customers report more replies and responses to their emails. Wow. Right? So if you're doing some of that prospecting, all you're looking for is to start the conversation. Video can help you do that. If you're looking to set more appointments and have more of those appointments actually show up and hold on time, we're seeing that as a result when you mix some video into that process. But I want to double down on your employee comment because engaged employees, I just saw this research. I was at Dreamforce, the big Salesforce conference recently. And I was in a future of work presentation by a couple of analysts at Salesforce. And the stat that they threw out was 84% of employees in the United States are disengaged in their work. And some portion of them, I forget what share, are like actively disengaged. When I hear disengaged, I think like, they're just showing up and they could be doing better, but they're showing up and doing an okay enough job to keep their job. That's not amazing, but at least it's not bad. When I hear it could be worse. When I hear actively disengaged, some share of those 84% of people are actively, that starts to sound like insubordination, potentially even sabotage, stealing company time and maybe even resources, whether it's sticking, a box of pens in the back and taking them home, or just like straight up wasting the company time and, using those resources for personal gain. It's like, that's super, super bad. And I'll just go back to kind of the human component of this. All any of us wants is to be seen and heard and understood, to be appreciated. It's all any of us wants. And I would say that again for these high achieving type A folks that might be listening. They're like, that sounds soft. That sounds weak. It's not. If you're really honest with yourself, all any of us really needs and wants in this world from an emotional and psychological standpoint is to be welcomed into the tribe, into the community, to be accepted by our fellow humans in our little subgroups and categories and families that we find ourselves in. And the family could be like a legit family that you're born into, or it could be the families that we create along the way, right? These like small, intimate communities. All we need is some social acceptance. It's what we need deeply as a human species, as a member of the species. And so when you reach out with a video and you let them know that you appreciate them. So imagine this scenario. Let's say that you are like an executive level employee or team member, and there's a mid-level manager, and you're in a meeting with a bunch of mid-level managers and other executives, and you find out that a frontline employee did a good job. And so now I'm going to perform a video that you might send as an executive. Hey, Jeff, I just talked with Katie. She said you're doing an absolutely amazing job. The way you turned that account around last week was such a big deal, not just for, hitting the number this month, but for that account and what our business does for them. You're just doing a really awesome job. That's not the first time I've heard a good thing about you. I wish you continued success, Jeff, and thank you so much for being a member of the team.
Right.
We've been with us for a year and a half. I'm looking forward to what's to come in the year and a half ahead. You're just an awesome dude. Take care. Have a great rest of your week and a wonderful weekend. Right?
Big time.
If you took 10 minutes a week and you sent 5 or 6 of those out, that is going to create this employee engagement. All people need to feel like is that they're seen and appreciated. And so internally is where it starts. If your employees are engaged, they create much better experiences for your customers.
Oh, that's so true. And I think it's going to be a big movement to internal marketing.
Absolutely there is. I mean, it's
instead of external. We always think external,
Yep.
right? It's like internal. Let's think of the team.
Totally. Recruiting and retention, you think about prospecting and selling and retaining customers, but it's the same thing on the employee side. The customer life cycle that you map out for your business is exactly like the employee life cycle. And it looks something like, moving from left to right in, beginning to productive retention and end is, you're doing some level of recruiting and interviewing and selecting, and on that side also becoming maybe an employer of choice in a good competitive job market that we have right now.
Right.
So it's this awareness. We exist. We're interested in you. You should be interested in us. We're a desirable place to work. You're a desirable employee. That's what we're discovering. We make an offer. We come to terms and get the commitment. Now we're at the middle of this situation. Then we need to onboard and train and coach and develop and promote and create this training, coaching, development, promotion cycle over on the end of the other end of the life cycle, from getting to know each other to now we know each other. You're providing massive value to the business. You're learning and growing. You're earning promotions, and we're creating this long-term relationship. All of that is about feeling connected to one another and making that investment. And when you focus more time and energy on your employees instead of just on the numbers, right, and just on the revenue and just on the customers producing that revenue, all of that is downstream of your employees being well-sourced, well-selected, well-onboarded, well-trained, and well-managed. But those people are the ones that are going to carry it forward and make it happen. All the revenue stuff is an outcome of a great employee experience.
Oh, yeah. And that's how you're going to grow. I mean, as anyone knows, it's a solo entrepreneur. That's why you haven't grown.
Totally.
And most of us that are listening maybe have grown. And then, now we have a whole nother set of problems. And now we need to get a better relationship. And so that also gets me into, I'm so curious about this, the BombBomb. I love the name. What got you guys into making that name? When you guys were sitting there thinking like, okay, here's a software name, we want to come up with it. What gave you the passion for that name?
Sure, man. Good question. Common one too, by the way, because it's, it doesn't make intuitive sense on its face. Yeah. So I'll tell you, I'll wrap this into the founding story of the company too. So we have 2 co-founders. They're both sales and marketing guys by background. They were tech savvy, but they weren't like software developers or anything. We're a software company. We make it easy to record and send these videos from our web app, from mobile apps, from Gmail, Outlook, Salesforce, and a bunch of other platforms. Because our whole goal is to get you face-to-face with more people more often. And so one of them was selling outdoor. He was selling billboards. And like any young salesperson, he inherits a small list that's good enough for him to keep the lights on and keep some food in the refrigerator. But he was very aggressive and great personality and really good at his job. And so he grew his list to a point where he couldn't stay in front of people as often as he wanted to. He wanted to reach out and say happy birthday or congratulations or happy holidays, or let's talk about that contract renewal, or hey, I'm out here on the east side of town and I wanted to show you what your billboard looks like, right? All these touch points, and he wanted to do them in a more personal way. So back in 2006, when this thing got going, that was very hard to do. It was convoluted. It was a long process. You'd have to record a video and then edit it and then upload it to YouTube and get the link. And it was all kind of clunky and slow. And so they set off on building a system that would make it fast and easy to do this. And so in this process of figuring out how do we build software, do we hire it out from overseas? Do we build a team locally? What's it going to take? How do we get email delivered successfully? Because video email is a core part of our offering. They were developing the idea, but didn't have a name for it. And so at the time, it was just popular slang. So, you're the bomb, he's the bomb, that taco's the bomb,
right.
that it's the bomb. And so the way I kind of bridge those two things together where we are today is one, it's really freaking cool that the product is being used in the spirit and in the same way that is part of the original founding vision. If you want to get face-to-face with more people more often, to be more personal and to build better relationships inside and outside your business with all the people who matter most to you, simple personal videos are a great way to do it. And so it should be fast and easy to do. And we have about 1,000 people who've sent 1,000 or more videos. As you said before, we've sent well over 10,000 videos Steve and I have ourselves.
Wow.
And so you don't do that if it's not fast and easy. And you don't do it if you don't get a better result than what you would have done otherwise. So at the time, some young woman told one of our co-founders, "You're the bomb." And he was like, "Oh, that's cool." Bomb.com was not available, but BombBomb.com was. And so, to bridge it, it's like you are the bomb. You are your own best differentiator. You are the reason people say yes. Right now, you are hiding behind faceless digital communication, right. And it's time to be real.
Oh, I'm ready to sign up. I'm going to put you in the show notes, my man. You are legit. Let's do this.
We're aligned on this.
I love it, man. I love it. I absolutely agree. And I think I need to step up my game myself. So I'm looking at the software saying maybe, and does it integrate with Gmail?
Totally. It works directly inside your Gmail inbox. So we have a Google Chrome extension, and you don't need to use Gmail to use the Chrome extension, but when you install it, you just log into it. You can start a free trial on the website and use those credentials, or when you subscribe, you can use those credentials. You just log into the Chrome extension, and if you don't use Gmail, that Chrome extension will allow you to record videos there, drop them into we use Slack here, so you can drop them into Slack, you can drop them into LinkedIn, you can text them out, you can share these videos a variety of ways. But if you are a Gmail user, what that Chrome extension does is adds this feature set directly inside your compose and reply window of any email. So if you're replying to an email and someone asks you hey, Travis, I noticed this thing, I got a couple questions about it. Instead of typing up a 2 or 3 paragraph response, right, which you don't want to write and they don't want to read, you can just look them in the eye and explain it in layperson's terms. So they're going to understand it better. They can play it back if they want to hear it twice.
Right.
It's way faster and easier for you. And then it also, the soft psychological side is you are now very clearly this trusted advisor, this expert on the topic, someone who can help me with my problems. And even if I never meet you in person, I'm going to feel like I know you. There's a psychological proximity that we build when we experience each other eye to eye, face to face, even if it's not in person. So it's super powerful that way. And so, you can record yourself, you can record your screen, you can record your screen with your little face. You can do it with the mobile app. The mobile app has a bunch of cool features for iPhone and Android. You can pause the recording and pick up again. You can flip to from front to back camera, live in the same clip. Just a bunch of cool stuff. And of course, we're tracking all of the email opens. We're tracking when someone plays your video. We're tracking how long people watch your videos. We're tracking if someone clicks a link that you add in there. And so this just allows you to either A, know that the message got through, or B, this might be a great time to follow up in the case that it is in that kind of prospecting sales type situation where, they haven't replied or responded, but that they've engaged with the message. And so that might be a good person to reach back out to.
Right. Well, I think this is the future, man. I really do. And I think you guys are positioned for lots of opportunities. You said 49,000 current customers. I could see you guys doing 1 million customers.
I can too. Like I said, I mean, the reason I'm in the role that I'm in is like I'm not out here selling accounts, although I'm happy to if that's a
Right.
consequence of it.
Right.
I just know that this is going to be a better for you, for anyone listening. You are going to enjoy your work more. You're going to, the skills you develop by getting comfortable looking the camera in the lens and just talking to people are highly, highly transferable to being better presenting on a web conference or a Zoom call. It's
Right.
better. You have a better presence in meetings. If you ever wind up, like I was not a speaker. I didn't do webinars or anything before I joined BombBomb. But when I had to do a stage presentation, because I was just the person to do it, we were a very small company at the time back in 2012. It's a pretty good speaking engagement. I had never done that before, but I had sent about 300 or 400 videos at the time.
Oh, yeah.
And I was just much more comfortable in my own skin in front of people. Like, it's super empowering to get comfortable doing this. You're going to be so much better in so many other situations if you can just develop this. Like anything you want to be good at, it takes a little bit of practice. No one picks up a basketball and puts it in the basket on a regular basis at a high percentage without practicing. No one picks up a saxophone. No one picks up drumsticks and sits down at a drum set. No one picks up a book on Mandarin language and is able to speak it fluently without some practice. And so this is a little bit of a new skill. Don't let that initial discomfort prevent you, because you're going to be better at your work. You're going to get better results and outcomes, and you're going to be more satisfied in the relationships that you build. And relationships are the number one thing that bring us to life. That research is in the book.
Oh, yeah. And you guys are in a great position because you guys are in a recurring revenue business, which everyone loves. I think that's a fabulous business. And
yeah, it's amazing how many businesses are going that way.
Oh, yeah. Look at Microsoft. One of the biggest businesses. Was that the largest?
I'm seeing T-shirt companies that are trying to create a subscription around T-shirts. Like, we'll send you a new T-shirt every month. I'm like, I don't need 12 T-shirts a year, man.
Right. Yeah, there's like too many of the subscriptions. Some of those subscription companies, there's like too many of them.
Sure.
I knew that like once you went from Microsoft being like $500 for Word and all the sweet stuff to like it being like $10 a month or whatever, I was like, oh shit, this is where it's going, you know?
Totally.
And it was like, wow, if Microsoft, which is like, I think value cap, one of the biggest companies in the world.
Yes.
Definitely in the United States, as far as value cap goes, you know, they're the leader, you know? And then now you've seen like everyone go to a Prime model, where they're charging kind of for an annual subscription to get access to the deals or whatever it is, you know? So
yeah, it's funny. We're one of those households that got rid of cable a long time ago, but all of a sudden I'm paying almost as much as I was paying for cable like 12 years ago. Yeah. And I've got like 8 logins for my TV.
I got Disney Plus and Netflix, Hulu, and this and that. It's interesting. Yeah, it is fascinating. Maybe there'll be a better way of like combining all. I think Roku does something kind of like that, but I'm not sure.
Yeah, I use Roku. It's really helpful.
Yeah, Roku. Good investment. That's been a good investment. All right, my man. We're about to take you now into our top 10. Are you ready?
Yes, absolutely.
Apple or Android?
Apple.
Netflix or YouTube?
Netflix.
Instagram or Facebook?
Instagram.
Nice. I just followed you there too. Chicken or steak?
Plants.
Plants. Nice. Any favorite plants?
I love all beets.
Oh, nice.
Spinach, black beans, plants, man. All colors, all textures.
That's the way to go, man. And if you're not into eating only plants, at least fill up half your plate full of plants, right?
Totally. Yeah. Here's the deal. Eat real food.
Yes.
Mostly plants.
Right.
I'm not telling anyone how to eat, but the more real food you eat and the more plants you eat, the better off you are.
Let's be real. The longer you're going to live.
And you'll feel better along the way.
Yes, absolutely. Laptop or smartphone?
I'm still laptop.
Yeah. They said that eventually laptop's going to go away. I was reading recently.
Yeah, you know, the iPad Pro and some of those in-betweens between the phone and between the laptop, like it does create some of this opportunity there. Like my CMO and co-author on the book, Steve Passanelli, is you know, he's really working the iPad Pro and like leaving his laptop behind more and more often. But I do some photo and video work. I like the big screen. I like the real keyboard. I do use my phone a ton, but I'm not ready to ditch it and say all phone all the time.
Right. It's amazing though how much better these phones have gotten, and apps
totally.
And everything. It's just so
and
awesome.
They're fast, and the screen, the resolution is amazing.
Yeah, it's like, man, these things are quick. Spotify or Pandora?
Spotify.
Movies or video games?
Movies.
Reading books or listening to books?
I'm a reader.
Stocks or real estate?
I think probably real estate is a better opportunity if you're astute and you're engaged in it. But for me, I'm a buy and hold passive kind of guy. So I'm going to say stocks.
Yeah, much easier too.
ETFs.
Yeah, just don't even have to worry about managing anything. No, you'll never get a call in the middle of the night saying, "Hey, my water heater broke."
Right. Or the basement's flooded. Yeah, any of that stuff.
And pull out 20 grand out of your own pocket to fix it. So no, I agree. I think real estate too is just, it is for the bigger boy or bigger investors, or like you said, you have to be really active in it. It's not for someone that plans on being passive and plans on just.
Yeah, it's interesting. I know a number of people with like relatively modest incomes, but they paid down their house. And so then they started, they bought a duplex, let's say, and then they bought that down a little bit, and then they got another one, or they got a small, multi-unit place. And so, you don't have to be crazy rich to get going in it. And so you take, someone with a approximately average or slightly above average income, but if they're diligent about it, and I'm not a handyman, that's the other problem. Like my favorite tool in the toolbox is my phone. Like I'll just call someone and help me fix it.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
I'm not, but if you're like a do-it-yourselfer, you can do really well in it, and you can do it like one unit at a time. And then all of a sudden, over the course of 15 or 20 years of patient and diligent work, you can own 4, 5, 6 properties and be,
right.
Retire earlier than I'm going to.
Yeah. I mean, there is a process to it. I'm definitely going to eventually turn our house into a rental, and eventually hopefully get another place, and kind of hopefully slowly do the same thing. Like you said, 5 or 6 properties on top of the stuff you've already built for yourself in life, but
and Airbnb helps you do that too, because you don't have to straight like rent it either. You could like manage it, and you can pay it down faster. Like if you're in a good place and you can do Airbnb, you can pay it down even faster than rent.
Dude, I've heard some crazy situations where people are like renting it out 4 or 5 nights, and that pays the mortgage. We went to one place in Napa that it was like 3 or 4 grand for the weekend. It was like Bottle Rock, which is a popular weekend over there. But I mean, that probably paid the mortgage for one weekend. And
totally.
What they only did as part of their story they kind of had is that they just would take trips with that money.
Right.
Go, hey, we're going on a vacation. You have our house and we do this, take care of the chickens in the backyard and, this and that. It was very interesting. So
cool.
Fascinating, the new world we live in a way, right?
Yeah.
A couple more last questions for you, my man. Do you think you will ever retire?
I think I will generally. I think I will generally retire. I hope to put myself in a position where, when most of us are talking retirement age, it's like I really have that privilege of saying yes to what I want to and no to what I want to. And I am still generating income. I'm still doing productive work. I'm still adding value to the world at large and just to a specific business, but I'm doing it completely on my own terms.
Right. Yeah. A lot of people are now.
So yes and no.
Yeah, unfortunately, it's like people have not saved enough to have an extra $500 a month.
Yeah.
Or like they say emergency fund, they don't have a $500 emergency fund if a big bill came across their way.
Yeah. And I think I'm just going to be on a soapbox for 2 seconds, and we'll keep going on the top 10. I think so many of us tell ourselves in our heads or even out loud or tell our friends that it's something that we need, and really it's just something that we want. I think we waste a lot of attention and a lot of time and a lot of money buying things that if we were even a little bit honest with ourselves, we don't really need and only provide us a very fleeting moment of happiness.
Right. Oh yeah. Fuck. They hear this all the time from people that are super wealthy. It's like 30 seconds it gave you happy. I just bought a new Bentley. Oh shit. Didn't mean nothing. I'm going to already plan on buying my next one.
Yeah.
It's like, holy shit, man. When you really think about it, just be grateful that you can flush your toilet, folks.
Totally.
Be real. If we can start.
Congratulations. You were in the top 10% of the world population.
Yeah. And you have a little clean water on top of that. Shit. You're good, man. You're good to go.
Yeah.
Last question. I have a question for you on the top 10 here is oceans or lakes?
I'll say lakes, and I'll tell you the only reason I say lakes because the ocean is amazing. I say lakes because I grew up in West Michigan. If you've not been to the Great Lakes, specifically Lake Michigan,
nice.
I'm on the West Coast or the West Coast of Michigan. In Grand Rapids is where I grew up, and so we got tons of amazing beaches there. It's fresh water, so no sharks, no salt, no jellyfish. it's only warm a few months of the year, so there is that giveaway. I mean, it is in the upper Midwest, but
Colder beach. It's a colder ocean.
Yeah, I got a big heart for the Great Lakes.
Oh, they're beautiful. They are beautiful. I went to Mackinac Island one time when I was a kid.
Oh, cool.
Amazing just experience. How do you typically start your day?
I get up really early. I get up around 5.
Nice.
My wife also gets up early, so we'll just kind of hang out and connect a little bit for, depending on how the morning shapes up, 15 or 30 minutes of just drinking coffee, like knocking out some basic little chores.
Yeah.
And chit-chatting and catching up. And then I'll always get out the front door for a run, depending on what's going on. It might be as short as a mile. It could be 3 miles. But I always try to get outside and get some fresh air.
That's awesome.
I'll typically knock out a little bit of the busy work at home on our computer. Like clear out some emails or get a couple LinkedIn posts or something up. I'll just tend to a couple things, so I got a little momentum by the time I get to the office. Son gets up a little bit later, so I'll chat with him for maybe a couple minutes, and then we all kind of take off at 7 and go to work, go to school. Yeah.
Hit the road hard, baby. That's awesome. That's the way to do it, man.
Yep. And then get to the office by 7:15.
Mm-hmm. Do you have a skill you're trying to master right now? Or is there something you're looking at next year because we're coming on a new year? Is there something you're saying, Ethan, I'm going to learn how to do this, my man?
Not really learning, but the thing that I've been doing this year that I'm really excited about, it's been one of the most fun and engaging things and rewarding things I've done, is what exactly you're doing now, which is hosting conversations with a wide variety of people to learn something myself and to hopefully build a community around it that they're learning stuff too. And
that's awesome.
Making guests.
What is your podcast around?
It's called the Customer Experience Podcast. And so the whole idea is that in businesses like ours, let's just say a medium-sized to large-sized business, even with a really, really healthy culture, you get these silos within the organization. And so for us, when you think about the customer experience, it's made up of every single touch point with your company, your website, what it's like to walk into your store or meet you at a trade show booth, your collateral, what it's like to call you on the phone or to get a call from you, to read your emails, to interact with your people, to use your product or your service. Like every single moment that someone interacts with you or your brand representative, whether it's a human or a digital touch or an analog touch like a piece of direct mail, they're having an experience that they assign to you and your company. And so if the experience is made up of all these touch points, how do we work together across these teams and across these silos internally? How do we tear those silos down a little bit and create alignment and work better together across marketing, sales, and customer success in particular, product and development if you're a software company like us, in order to create and deliver a better experience for our customers, because that is the last differentiator. There's so much competition in the world, especially, you talked about the price point of an office subscription coming down to I don't know what it is, but let's say it's $10 a month or
it's like
$20 a month or whatever.
Right.
That's insane. And so the barriers to entry to start a business is super exciting, but it also makes a much more competitive environment for the legacy company as well as the new entrant to the market as well. It's hyper competitive. And so what it feels like, what people think and feel as they interact with you and your brand is going to matter more than almost anything else. That is the last great differentiator available to us. We have to do it well. So I'm trying to host conversations to learn more myself, to teach it internally, and to create a community of people that are working to make each other better.
Dude, that's fascinating and awesome that you're doing that. That's great.
Yeah, so it's awesome. I've only done 50 episodes. I'm looking to get better, and it's cool.
The main thing in anything like we do in content is just you keep putting out content.
Yeah.
They say podcast fade. There's every single type of content that is out there around anything. There's someone that has started it and then has said, I'm done because of some reason. You know what I mean? Like that's just life. There's always a reason. And then there's some people that just keep on the momentum. Joe Rogan. Have you seen Joe Rogan? Dude, it is a beast because he doesn't stop. You just think about it, like his momentum has changed insane probably for him. He probably never thought he'd be interviewing the kind of people he's interviewed out of his own place that he's created for himself. But the point is that the momentum keeps going. He's still still launching those episodes every day for like 3-hour shows now. It's like insane.
Yeah, and it's so cool because at work, I mean, he's built this massive community and following, and not just to monetize it, but to raise up different ways of looking at and behaving with the world, and different ways to develop yourself. And like, it's just so cool. He's truly changing the world. Now, he's doing it in a small but growing part of the world. But when you talk about the way that you can affect yourself, your guests, and this growing community, it's super powerful.
Yeah, it's amazing. So shout out to you for starting a podcast, and 50 episodes in it, just you keep on grinding, because that's what it's all about. They say that, I know you're not going to give up, because they say after 7 episodes, usually most people will have given up. So because you're at 50, that's, you're way beyond, you're 10x.
Yeah, and I love it. And I love it. I need it.
Yeah, it's fun. It's fun to interview people. It really is. Like, it's always interesting to know, like, you kind of get to see maybe the people you're going to interview before, maybe you're a fan of them, maybe you weren't a fan of them, and then you have them on the show and you're just like, wow, this is very fascinating. I'm always fascinated by every guest in every way. There's only been a few where it's like, why are you even here? But that's the only thing. And they booked my show. But I mean, there's only been a very, very few that it was like, it was just didn't seem the right vibe. And yeah. I'm not that kind of guy. I'm pretty good with everybody. So the point is that obviously you can't make everyone happy. That's something we know too about customers in life, right? But the last couple questions here for you before we got to go here is this. If you could sit down for a vegetable-rich dinner with anyone in the world, who would it be?
Ooh, good one. I'll go with, because he's still alive, I'll go with Paul Hawken.
Ooh, nice.
Interesting guy, entrepreneur. He wrote a book that was very, very impactful on my life. I read it, I think, back in like the early to mid 90s. And he's written several other books since, and he started a couple companies. Just a really smart dude, building values-based businesses, which is obviously very hot right now.
Right.
Even these major companies like Unilever that run a bunch of, consumer packaged goods, like famous household brands, are trying to find purpose for their brands. And so it's just the way he's looked at the world and using business as a way to improve the world for decades. And I just find him really inspiring. So I've seen videos of him. He was on, I don't know if you follow Rich Roll. That's another like really good long podcast. If you like Joe Rogan, there's a good chance you'd probably be interested in Rich Roll. So heard him on his show. So I've seen him and I've read him, and it'd be cool to meet him in person.
Might be a chance you interview him one day. You never know. Tweet at him or Instagram DM him and say, hey, you fascinate me.
Yeah.
You never know. You just never know.
Totally. And that's been another shocking thing, by the way. I've gotten yeses to asks that I never would have expected.
Yes. Well, that's sales, right? It's like you are selling them on your show. But the best part about a podcast is you are offering them some sort of influence for no money. So possibly they pick up some book sales. Possibly here, Ethan and the team picks up some, subscription sales, not only from T Huff and the biz, but also from maybe some of our listeners that I think BombBomb is the BombBomb. And we want to, pick up that for our business or for our salespeople or for our staff,
Yep.
So, I mean, that's the whole point. And then, so the best part is, and then also lastly, it's the businesses. This thing is just in the beginning. The people are getting connected phones and 5G. Everyone's gonna be able to pick up these things like it's nothing. And so it's still the beginning. So you build the catalog like Netflix has, and then you're gonna have a huge, insane catalog, and as it grows, it just keeps on ticking here. And so it's fascinating. Last thing for you is this: where's the best place for people to find you? Learn more about the BombBomb.
Cool. Thank you for that. I appreciate the question. My name is Ethan Beute. Last name is spelled Beute. I welcome connections on LinkedIn.
Yeah.
Add a note. It always helps, to let me know that you know who I am and that we should be connected for a particular reason.
Right.
You can learn more about us at BombBomb.com. It's just the word bomb twice, BOMB.com. If you want to learn more about the book, Rehumanize Your Business, it's like 46% off at Amazon right now. You can learn more about it at BombBomb.com/book, just /BOOK, or you can search Rehumanize Your Business in Amazon. You'll find it there. And if you want to learn more about the podcast, it's BombBomb.com/podcast. And I welcome direct communication as well. You can email me. It's just Ethan, ETHAN, @BombBomb.com.
Hey, brother. Well, we love your energy and passion for life, for veggies, for getting people to have more personality and show more personal connection in their lives. And we've now challenged every single person listening today that start the free trial. Yeah, let's get that going. But then if you're not going to do even that, just start sending messages to your friends and family, right? And Ethan, can you give our listeners one last real talk thought for our listeners before they close out this show today?
Yep. First, be there in person when you can't be there in person. That's the language I'd put on what you just offered there. There are times when you should be there in person, but when you can't, video is the next best thing. But the thing I'll challenge you with is you are going to click send or post or something like that dozens of times today, tomorrow, dozens of times. We do it all day long. And it's faceless digital communication. So the next time you're getting ready to click send, the next 10 times, think, would this be better if I said it eye to eye, face to face? And the answer in a lot of cases is going to be yes. And so I encourage you to be honest with yourself and then challenge yourself to get face to face with people through simple personal video.
Well, folks, you've been hanging out with my man, Ethan Beute, and to Travis, to Tall and Huff, folks. I want to thank you so much for your time today, and let's keep being real. This podcast is proudly sponsored by Real-Time Reputation. Do you have results and reputation that you need to uncover and find out in your business? Do you need more reviews and positive reviews to be showcased on your website? Well, now's the time. Check out Real-Time Reputation on Google, and let's get going. What another epic episode. And if you enjoyed the episode today, can you please do me a favor and subscribe to our podcast, The Be Real Show, on iTunes or your favorite podcast platform. And also take a little time today, if you don't mind, and give your boy T Huff a review. I would really super appreciate it. And thank you so much for listening today.